Gents, I just want to pause the episode for a moment to let you know about the Strong Men of Value Academy. You will have heard me refer to it a number of times, and I want to bring more attention to it. So this isn't just a program, it's a life-changing environment and community of men who are focused on personal and professional growth. We're looking at areas of relationships, wealth, and health, things to help you thrive and maximize your life. Imagine having bi-monthly one-on-one coaching sessions with myself, weekly group coaching calls, and an incredible brotherhood of high achievers by your side. Now we're diving into resilience, leadership, and holistic growth to not just succeed in your career, but to thrive in your health and your relationships. Your journey to greatness, it starts here. So join the movement and you can apply for the Strong Men of Value Academy. You can head to themanthatcanproject.com to find out more.
You're listening to The Man That Can Project with Lockie Stewart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to The Man That Can Project.
Welcome back, gents, and I hope everyone is having an incredible day or wherever you are, whatever time you're listening to this. It is a Sunday afternoon for me, and here in Brisbane, it is looking like we're about to have a thunderstorm. We've had a ton of rain all day, which has been cool, and then the sun came out for a moment, and now the sky is looking quite purple, so fingers crossed we get a thunderstorm. I do love a thunderstorm, and it helps me unwind and get into the week the week ahead. Is into the evening. So what do I want to talk about today? Change your story, change your outcome, change your life. I put up a post on Instagram today, and I was touching on, life can be really simple, and I think I've touched on this a few times on the podcast over the past couple of days. Just about, often we go to work to overcomplicate what is, what I believe is simple, right? And it's simple in theory, but obviously making the decisions and being disciplined to make it happen is the hard part, right? We come up with a lot of mental challenges, but if we can commit to that, making the hard decisions and doing what we feel is going to deliver the outcome, life can be quite simple and quite enjoyable. There's a lot of people stuck right on. Sorry, where I was even going with that before I went on a little tangent there was I put up this post and someone said, or they put a long-winded response, which was basically, they agree with the post to a degree, but obviously there's some things that can't be put into, you can't have control over. And, obviously without going into the full conversation with that person, I would have loved to have had that full conversation, to find out more about the current circumstances that they're looking or viewing it through. And obviously, I'm always open to understanding and being proven wrong, but I'll just speak from where I see things based on my opinion of the world. And we all have an idea of what we want from life, and obviously there's circumstances and beliefs that are keeping us where we want, where we're at. And if we aren't willing to change that, then nothing is going to change, right? So if we ultimately decide that, we want to create change, but we put these limitations on ourselves, right? It's very easy for me to create, make decisions and create change because I don't have kids. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any of that, right? So I get when people say, oh, it's not that simple because you have more things to consider. I 100% would agree with that. However, you've also made the decision and the choice to have kids or to get a mortgage, whereas I have made the decision not to at this point in my life, because I know obviously with that comes more responsibility, and you have to put more thought into things. And where I've been at in my own mindset in my own life is I want to be in the position where I can really make the most of certain situations and circumstances, and I don't want to have to put I don't want to have any extra thought or extra things that could hold me back based off decisions that I made. It's just, I look at it the same way as even having a pet. And a lot of people have animals and they don't, or maybe the way I view it is maybe they don't think about, having to not being able to go away as much. It's almost like having another kid and have to find a house sitter or a pet carer while you want to go away and do these things. And for me, that doesn't suit my life. But based on where you're at, obviously everyone's got different wants and needs, which is completely okay. But I'm going back to change your story, change your outcome. And for those who aren't having that quality of life that they want, it's really about thinking about how, when you make decisions, are they going to be things that could potentially turn into excuses when you're moving forward, when you're trying to create a different outcome for yourself? Because I know for myself, I would love to have a dog again. I would, it would be amazing. But I also know that could be a potential excuse for me or maybe not even an excuse, but a reason why I don't do certain things that I want to do. So I've made the decision up until I achieve a few goals that I'm working towards that's not going to be an option, because I don't want to have those drawbacks. And the story that I'm telling myself, because I want to get towards the outcome, is that I can't have distractions. I can't have things that are out of my control playing. And obviously, when I say out of my control, it would I talk very much about having a pet or having something to care for. When at this point in time I have the flexibility or freedom not to do so. So when we go back to obviously changing your story, changing the outcome, getting towards where you want, a lot of us are limited by the narrative around that, right? A lot of us are limited by, we go, I can't do that, I can't afford that, I can't get to a gym, I can't eat well, I can't stay up that late, I can't get up that early, I can't, right? And it seems to be the things that keeps a lot of us stuck. And gents, if you're listening to this, I know you're listening to this because you want to create change. You want something different for your life. You want a different outcome to the current one that you're having. Guys, it is absolutely bucketing down right now. That came over really quickly. Anyway, back on. It's learning to change that story. So if you're in a relationship that you don't like, gents, first and foremost, I would probably ask yourself what specifically it is that you don't like about it. What would you like to change about it? And if it's something that you want to work towards changing, or if it's something you want to work towards getting out of, you need to start doing that, right? You really need to start putting in the time and the effort and making those decisions to create the outcome that you want. And here are 3 things that I really believe we need to do in order to get in control of that story and to be in the driver's seat to change more of the outcomes that we want from our life. 1 is be resourceful. A lot of us aren't resourceful enough when we get challenged with a problem. We don't think outside of the box. And often the way I think at it is, if I think how everyone else is thinking, I'm probably going to get the same results, and I'm probably going to be stuck in very similar situations as most people are. So I take on board, everything that is being said, everything that is, I guess, perspectives on how to overcome things. And 100%, if I believe one's going to provide the solution, go for it. But I also, and obviously reaching out and asking for help in the first place is being resourceful. But I also want to, think outside the box around, is there someone out of my industry that may have a new take on how I can move forward with this? Is there, potentially a book or a YouTube video that I could watch that could teach me something? You got to be resourceful to overcome problems, because if you don't have the resources or the understanding to overcome the problem, then you can definitely learn it, because everything that you've learned up until this point, as I just said, you've learned. Simple, right? Step 2, take ownership. So take ownership and responsibility for everything that's happening in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly. Right? If you take ownership, right, and you're telling yourself negative stories, then you're the reason why the negative stories are there, because you're telling yourself that. That's if obviously in your position where you're taking responsibility and ownership. If you don't like that, well, once again, take ownership and go, okay, well, I don't like the stories that I'm telling myself. They're not serving me. What would I need to think about, or what do I need to tell myself to make that change? Then start with that. Start taking ownership and start deciding that you need to tell yourself some better, more empowering stories. Step 3, you can't quit, right? You may find things a challenge. You may find things aren't working well for you, but you just got to learn to pivot or sidestep and keep moving towards the goal that you set for yourself. Right? If you want to change the outcome, one of the most important things, and here's a real life example, and I probably share this a lot. When I was unhappy, I hated myself, I wasn't getting the results that I wanted from my life or for myself, the story I was telling myself was completely different to the one that I'm telling myself now. And it was different in a way that it wasn't supporting who I wanted to be. I was using a lot of negative words, right? I shut everything down before I gave everything the opportunity to potentially be something great. I was essentially just a fucking negative, energy draining bastard that you would not have wanted to spend time around, as opposed to the story I tell myself is always I can find a way. And I've spoken about this before, where one thing I really focus on is being certain, right? And certain that whatever challenge comes up or whatever happens in my life, I will have the ability, or I'll be able to find a way to overcome it. You know, going back to being resourceful there, I'm taking ownership and I'll find a fucking way. I'm not going to quit. I may find 100 ways that don't work, but I'm just looking for that one way that does, the one way that's going to allow me to get what I want and the results that I want. That's what I'm going after. So gents, when we start working on how we can change our story, we can really work on changing those outcomes. And that's what I believe a lot of us want. We want different outcomes. So don't undervalue or underestimate the power of self-talk. Don't underestimate, this is why a vision's a good thing, because you're starting to change the dialogue. In order for you to create a vision for yourself, what you want, you have to start telling yourself a different story, or you have to start creating that story. And if you're, checking in on that story or what you want day in, day out, you're starting to rewrite where you want to go. And over time, you'll start noticing that, hey, how I'm speaking to myself is changing. It's become more positive. It's become more supportive. It's become more empowered. Right? And that's such an incredible place to come from. Thank you guys for tuning in. I definitely got distracted a heap in that one. When I listened to that back, I was like, wow. But I was checking out the window, watching the storm, and I was checking back to my notes. But anyway, I'm putting it out there because that's real life. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lockie Stewart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.